Hey, it's Heather with Binary Quilt Company. So in starting our discussion about process, and when people come to me and they say, I want a quilt, I often say, how big? Because that's usually something that people can answer right out of the gate. This particular project, I was fortunate enough to have my client who was able to show me pictures of quilts that she really liked and styles that she really liked, and so I knew that she wanted a twin, and I had seen a picture of the twin that she wanted, which had Dresden plates in the middle of the quilt and then some applique along the outer edges of the quilt. And so, as I've been thinking about this, there are two ways that I can see approaching the Dresden plates, and that is to create individualized blocks, or it could be that I'm doing a whole cloth quilt and I'm appliquing the Dresden plates directly on one single piece of quilting, and then also my applique that's going to go around the edges would be appliqued onto a whole cloth, basically. Right now, I'm still not sure which way I'm going to take that. If I'm going to do the Dresden plates as discrete blocks, or if I'm going to do them as a whole cloth. I'm just not sure. So if you're at a point in your quilt design where you're just not quite sure what you're going to do, that's normal. So what I did was, first step is, of course, to determine the size of the quilt. And I know that twins can run, depending on if they're comforter or their bedspreads, they can run anywhere from 65 inches times 88 inches to 71 inches to 101 inches. So you're about to see some ugly sketches. So switch this around. The first thing I did was to kind of get an idea of, like literally just rough sketching out this quilt pattern. That's all I did. And I said, ooh, I remember one of the things that my client liked was she liked that in the picture, these represent Dresden plates, believe it or not. They're so ugly. But that she really liked those being offset from each other. So I went through, sketched again. And then, and so I was just working off of a 65 by 88. And I started, I offset the Dresden plates. I have my appliques represented over here. I first determined, because I need to figure out how big these Dresden plates are going to be, I first determined that this applique piece, it's going to be a border, and it needs to be about 6 inches wide going down, and then 6 inches wide going across. So I take, because it's 6 inches on both sides, top and bottom, I need to subtract 12 inches from both the 65 and the 88. And that will tell me how much room I have for my Dresden plates in the center. So I determined then that I am left with 53 inches wide for the main body of my quilt and 76 inches wide long for my main body of my quilt. And so here I am. I was like, how am I going to figure this out? And of course, it just rough sketching this tells me that I do want 4 rows of Dresden plates here, because I think that looks nice. I think it just lays out really nicely. And I think having 4 rows and 3 across here, 2 here, 3 here, and 2 here, it's going to give kind of that offset look that Kelly's looking for. I'm really tempted to add a little half Dresden here. I just don't know that I'm going to do it yet. I might actually do that though. That's not a bad idea, I don't think. So then it was like, okay, if I'm here and I know that the main body of my quilt is 53 inches by 76 inches, then I need to figure out how big these plates are going to be. And so what I did was I just divided 76 this is the length of my quilt. I divided it by 4 because I know I need 4 rows of Dresden plates. And so for each row, that's going to be 19 inches. My God, I hope my math is right. And if it's not, you might just need to tweak a little bit, right? So anyway, so I determined it was going to be 19 inches. I want to make sure that there are 4 inches between each row of Dresdens themselves. So I know I'm going to have some space here. And that allowed me to determine that finished size of my Dresden plate unit, I want that to be 15 inches. Whew, are you tired yet? Does your brain hurt? Because let me tell you, I had to get some chocolate. I needed lunch, and I had to take a pause and go on a walk after I did all that. So there are resources online. If you're working with something like a circle or a Dresden plate and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to figure out how big of a block size and how much wedge I need? That literally, I went to Google and I said, how big should my Dresden plate be? And there's a wonderful resource that you can Google it. I'll try to link it for you because it's fantastic. But it'll tell you, like if your Dresden plate wedge is 2 inches, then your recommended block size is X amount, and your final block or your final plate will be this big. So I did determine that the block size is going to be 18 inches, not 19. So I will do an 18-inch square block if I wind up going with the blocks. And I might just bump it up to 19. And then in order to get an 18-inch square finished block with a Dresden plate that is appropriately balanced, we're looking at a final Dresden plate of size of 16.5 inches. And then what that means is that I need 7-inch wedges to actually build the Dresden plate. So that was my work this morning, and it was brain heavy, and I think that that's the part that sometimes really stumbles us up, and it just gets a little wonky, but that's how I did it. And it's yeah, I think I need more chocolate, but anyway, that's my process for that. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Facebook, Instagram, you can always message me there at Bonaire Quilt Co. You can always find my email at bonairequiltco.com. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. If we need to set up a Zoom meeting, we'll set up a Zoom meeting. We'll get you through this. Yeah, come by and see what we're doing on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll talk to you soon.